Okay.
And Monique will be gone tonight. She had out of town work.
Was my wife there? Just
So,
Florida.
Yeah.
I hadn't been, I was gonna.
Not that hard, right?
Yeah.
You should have.
I think she did mention that. I don't know if I mentioned it. I didn't mention that, but.
Maybe, I'm going tomorrow to
We are live.
Goose Breakfast to go pick up a refrigerator. You can't find that stuff down here. Stove, microwave. Oh, she was. She doesn't have time to do that. Oh, she wasn't.
We have one fan. I don't know about a fan. You're mandatory. Mandatory. Mandatory.
Oh, you're gonna do cheerleading now?
No, no, I'll plan this.
Oh, perfect. All right, at 7 o'clock, call the last meeting here to order. Start with pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move to any old business or anything to finish up for the final meeting of the 2021-2022 board. Know of anything that we need to wrap up or anything, so we'll go ahead and adjourn the 2021-2022 board and call to order the 2022-2023 Board of Education. Any additions to the agendas presented? Have anything? Looked like the consent agenda was pretty full, but it's end of year, start of year stuff, so. We can move on to the consent agenda. Does anybody have any comments or anything they'd like to discuss in there? There's some rental fees that kind of changed a little bit in there with our facilities. Nothing major, just kind of keeping up with the status quo for everything. Board meeting schedule, I think there's no third weeks or anything, is there in there? I didn't see that one.
Or one time in March, we had to make an adjustment.
March for spring
because of
break, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, so there's kind of a change in there for the March meeting.
Right. But I think that's it.
The fire alarm testing was the same as last year, so no change there.
Substitute teacher pay was, I'm sorry, excuse me, a slight increase for substitute teacher pay because there are other districts around us that are paying that $100 a day. So again, it just, it was time to do that again for our substitutes. Student fees are going to stay as is again this year. They'll stay the same, so that'll be a help to our community, our families.
Is mileage the same? That's just it?
Yes.
That's what I remember. Any other?
Yeah, a lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of information. It's all, like I say, kind of end of year, start of year. I'll go ahead and move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to approve consent agenda, and we can vote on our computers. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to public comment section. Lindsay, anything? Okay. Written communications, I didn't see anything come across. Move into the technology report. Anything to add or ask questions or anything? Or it's kind of a short and sweet one. Has there been much headache switching from TelXP to QuickCom?
Not yet.
I've heard some feedback from some residential users.
We, just a point of reference, we were already committed to TelXP as part of that federal E-rate program. So, and the bid windows had all closed for that federal program. So we had one of two choices: abandon about $14,000 in federal grant or make it work for a year. The other thing was we would have been trying to do a conversion in about 6 weeks' time, and we did not feel comfortable with either one of those items. So with that decision, we decided to make a vendor change in the grant program, which is approved, and then basically in February, in January, February of next year, we open that back up for bid again.
Okay.
And then at that point in time, we'll take a look at service performance level, price performance level, several of the factors that you may have heard about, and then make a decision at that point. And again, from our internet perspective, remember we have two pipes. We have the QuickCom pipe and the MT Networks pipe that provides us a bidirectional ability to go either north or south. If one pipe goes down, the other pipe's still up, we still have internet service. An outage in Kansas City doesn't take both of our pipes out from that standpoint. So it's important that we maintain that, but so far, the one thing that QuickCom did in a positive way is they hired the gentleman who had been our lead tech person for TelXP for the past 20 years. And so that has been a positive on the service side of things.
Any other questions or comments? We haven't done the in-person presentation on social emotional well-being for the online thing. Is that every year we do that, or do we do?
We do something every year with our students.
Okay.
on internet safety and cyber citizenship and so forth. And then we try to do something bigger, about every 3 to 4 years.
Because I think I remember that we had parents and everything involved in one maybe a while back. I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay. And I think I heard positive that last time it happened.
There were real positives, and I'm working with the gentleman right now. He's not really done much with it before, but one of the hot topics in education is social emotional well-being. And one of the things they found was we've seen an increase in student mental health. Not an increase in student mental health, but an impact on student mental health, especially with kids that were involved in long stretches of remote learning. So even though we say, hey, I'm more connected than ever before with this device, at the same time our kids are more isolated than they have ever been because of this device. And what does that mean? How do we go about helping our students identify that and address that? And so that's one of the components that they're going to be adding to their program as well, and talking about mental health and getting mental health from that standpoint. So it's something the district's also getting ready to expand into.
Yep.
So.
Any other questions, comments, technology report? Move on to superintendent's report.
Right. And real quick too, before we start with my report, Doug and Christy do a terrific job with social media type information, whether it be Twitter or whether it be the website. Just want to commend them both on that. And there are others in the district who do a lot of different things with their programs. But we just very lucky to have Doug, Christy, and others in our school community really promoting the things and telling about stuff that's going on in the schools, even during the summer, because there's a lot of things happening in the summer as well. So thank you guys. I just have some information. This is regarding the revenue neutral rate information. This was new last year. This is again basically follow-up information from last year. We still have to go through that process. Christy and I are in the process of putting together the information for the revenue neutral rate. which we have to submit to the county treasurer, county clerk, Angie Kirshner, not treasurer, county clerk, Angie Kirshner, on July 20th. So basically, there's information here again about the revenue neutral rate. This was put into effect last year. It's really not, it wasn't intended to be, schools weren't intended to be a part of this, but we did get put into the mix. So again, the biggest thing for you all, again, is you as school board members, you approve our budget and go through that process of looking to see where we are with our budget, is the mill levy. I mean, that's big, obviously, for everybody, is, you know, anticipating and hopefully, again, that mill levy to stay the same or less. Now, this year, we will see at least one mill drop off because, again, our 1 mill for 5 years does expire this year. If we ever want to go back to an additional mill in the future, we have to go through that process of publicizing it and putting that information out to the community. But again, that will drop off this year. So our mill levy looks to drop at least by that 1 mill, if not a little bit more. So I don't know if you have questions about the mill levy. Again, or excuse me, about the revenue neutral rate. It's just a formality. It's a process that we have to do. Again, just asking for you guys to, again, allow us. We're going to fill out the document for revenue neutral rate that we will, again, we're going to be exceeding the revenue neutral rate. Now, does that mean that our mill levy is going to go up? No, most likely it won't. It's going to go down. Because remember, again, assessed valuation goes up, your mill levy can go down. And our assessed valuation has gone up. So with that being said, it's, like I say, it's just a formality, it's just a process that we go through. People sometimes maybe would look at this, maybe last year and maybe this year, and say, well, revenue neutral rate, you're exceeding it, that means your mill levy is going to go up. No, that's not the case. It's not the case. Any questions that you
I
have?
think the public needs to understand that we did drop that 1 mil. That, I mean, that we said that's what we're gonna do and we did it, so that's,
Yes. Might be a future newspaper article too.
yeah.
So. Any questions on again, anything dealing with revenue neutral rate? I say it's a little confusing, but it's just a kind of a mandatory thing we have to do.
And we'll have that meeting as part of the August meeting, or the hearing, I guess is what.
Well,
I'm thinking maybe.
again, because if we're exceeding the revenue neutral rate, we can't do our budget till, well, somewhere between August 20 and September 20, if I remember is the correct date. Before, remember, we used to have do the budget before August 25th. Well, because by law, we can't do, if we exceed the revenue neutral rate, we can't do the formal budget hearing until well, it would have to be before September 20, sometime before September 20.
Okay.
We will probably look to schedule that on the same day as we have our September board meeting to make it just one less meeting
And it's
to deal with.
pretty quick, right? It's adjourn a meeting, start a meeting. If there's anybody here to
Two
talk.
hearings, yeah.
Yes.
Hearing, I guess.
We'll publish in the paper.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Good question. Any other, because it's a little different. In the past, I guess that's one good thing about the revenue neutral rate. We get an extra month to put everything together, but we really don't really need to have that extra time, so. Other questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Move on to board member items. I don't have anything to report, James, do you have anything, anybody?
No, it's just really, this is kind of a dry summer.
Yeah.
Right now, we have, we're going to meetings Thursday and Fridays.
Yes. We did talk about possibility of doing a retreat, looking at your calendars. So as far as calendar days for a retreat, looking for a couple of evenings. I don't know. You know, I know we have outage coming up here pretty quick.
It's in October.
Oh, did we have it on 13 as well? Oh, I'm sorry. Annual, you know what, we can do that in 13, annual agenda planning.
Oh, there you
We
go.
can do that, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a little, thank you. Okay, you could get ready for your calendars here.
Nothing else? Any questions or anything about bringing up? Move on to ground rules. Looking at our standard operating procedures. I think this is kind of the same language that we've had, I think, since I've been on the board. It's kind of reinforcing the idea of no surprises and being on a team, and questions and comments and communication and conversation are a good thing. No matter where we might all fall on item or topic, let's talk about it and not try to surprise anybody with anything. It's what's best, keep us all working, progressing for our goals, which I think are listed down in the lower.
Yes.
We talked there about the evaluation, which we do for the superintendent, I think this fall, we'll
Yes.
send out that stuff and do it again. And I think we kind of talked about the format of how that was done. If we want to come up with something that we think is better, I encourage you to bring it in here. The form's kind of cumbersome. It's very formal though, kind of meant to be that way. But
James.
any questions or comments about the ground rules? There's chain of command in there. That's pretty, I think everyone's got that figured out. I'll go ahead and move to establish ground rules as presented for working with the superintendent as discussed and noted in official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
We can vote on our computers. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to the aforementioned board goals. And I think these are goals that are pretty much the same as I've seen in the past. It talks about some of our maintaining a long-range plan for our buildings, our vehicles. Talks about our board retreats, so we can go see the things that need attention, the things that we've given attention to, and whether or not those are successes or challenges we need to move forward in the future with, so. There's a question there about preference on format.
Right.
I'm kind of open for anything on whenever, the evenings seem to work the best for everybody.
Evenings, I like.
2 evenings, okay.
And that one does ask for a date there. Board members have preferred dates for their retreats, traditionally sometime in September.
It can be, again, August is, like I say, it's a little longer. That fifth, when we talked, I think we talked about a fifth Monday, possibly doing a fifth Monday topic, if anybody has a topic. Or in September.
My calendar's pretty open that far out. Halfway through October, August starts, but I can make whatever work I need to, maybe.
And if I'm not mistaken, have we done Wednesdays?
Well, yeah, I think we had kind of stuck to the Wednesday format.
Right.
And if we don't know our calendars that far out, we'll wait till August and maybe figure something out, because the meeting's the 8th of August, so that's early. Give us time to figure out August or September timeframe for getting those retreats going. Does that work for everybody?
That works.
Okay. Would you like to do a fifth Monday topic of some sort? You know, we have discussed, some different things related, for example, the field turf and work on our fields. I could invite Mammoth Company to spend an hour and a half with us just to talk about field turf type issues, if you
I
would
think
like.
that would probably be a good idea, but I think we need to talk about all of that, because we were talking, the ball field, the football, all of that needs to come into play, so we're all really kind of understand it.
I think all aspects of all the fields, and at least you can talk to the industry people in regards to that. I can see if they're available, let's say, on that fifth Monday, the 29th, for, let's just say, a 6 o'clock or somewhere in that neighborhood meeting, 6:30, whatever, we could meet. I'll see what works for them. We could meet out at the field, we'll do dinner, and just have discussions.
That's fair enough.
for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, so we won't have an extended time. Okay, all right, I will work on that, getting that. And then, like I say, like, for example, CLI has been a topic, if you'd like me to schedule Stacy Bruton to be here just to talk CLI type related information, or any other topics, just let me know. I think
Yeah.
there's a couple of well, October has a fifth Monday, but that's Halloween, so maybe not on that day. And then I think there's another one in January, so again, we can look for different topics. So if you have a topic, shoot me an email and I'll make sure we kind of work on getting that together, but I'll work on Mammoth being.
So would that be, like, the fifth Monday would be separate than our board retreat?
Yes, it would be separate.
It'd just be
Just
open
just
discussion
open discussion.
about topics that maybe you said to Craig, that, hey, I would want to talk to the rest of the board about this.
And there won't be any action taken at that meeting, it's just simply, it's
Strictly
information sharing. Yes. Okay, I'll work on that, thank you.
And there's no motion or anything for the goals. Move on to budget status report.
Christie and I kind of worked on this document, I'm gonna give her a lot of credit, she turned the paragraph of a lot of information into a nice chart from last year, so this is a good, I like charts and she does too, so we think a lot alike in a number of things, so anyway, that kind of gives you an idea of like say a 10, 11 year, 12 year history of information that's happened in the district. And I don't know if you have any questions about anything.
No, thanks, Tracy, that looks good.
And again, you see the chart down below of what a possible proposed levy could look like. Again, it's gonna be in that somewhere, we anticipate in that 1 mil or less, or we won't know for sure. We won't know for sure until we actually put together our budget for the 22-23 year, but we can kind of see where we stand. And again, you as a board have done a good job of making sure that, like I say, our mill levy has either stayed the same or dropped in the 6 years now. Year 7 for me, this is year 7 for me starting, so you guys have done a good job of overseeing our budget work.
No, yeah, I definitely appreciate the format of this, so I can see
Yeah.
year over year and the,
So, yeah.
where things are lined up and they're going. It's very helpful. Whatever form you give us every year that has all this stuff on, it's kind of cumbersome.
Any questions in regards to budget status report?
No, I think that it looks good, and I like, and we'll have James said it with, saying we're gonna go back to that 1 mil when we accomplish the goals that they asked for, and then going back to it's a very honest thing to do, so I like it. We need to address something, we need to go talk.
Right, that's how, yeah.
Get
that
things
way
going.
If we need it again,
That's right.
the public can trust us that
Correct.
we'll do what we are gonna do with the money and then take it
And I think the great thing,
back off, so they're not continuing to pay.
yes, and a great reminder too, is that we actually did more with that 1 mil for 5 years than we even anticipated with that first grade wing renovation. Because at that time, pricing was very, very good, and we didn't have the foundation issues with the high school gym, which we didn't know if we were or we weren't gonna have. So with that being said, we got a lot of bang for our buck with that 1 mil for 5 years, and it's helped us. If we were to try to do those same projects now, we wouldn't be 1 mil for 5 years, it'd be more.
Yeah.
So, kudos to you guys for letting us accomplish those things.
Well, and thank you to the public.
Yes, as well as the public, sure, yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Board status report? Not, we can move on to personnel. I'll go ahead and move to recess into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss personnel pursuant to non-elected personnel exemption under coma and to return to open session in this room at the end of that time, including Craig Marshall. And we can vote on our computers. Motion passes 6-0. We'll be back in 15. Next item on there is a retirement for accounts. I'm sure drove me to lots of activities.
Yes.
Motion to accept with regret the retirement request of Peggy Counts, bus driver effective July 1, 2022. Thank her for 29 years of service.
Yes. Second?
Motion and second, we can all vote on our ears for the retirement. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to contract approvals and appointments for activity bus hourly rates. Looks like we are adjusting our hourly rates to meet the labor force.
Yes, very much so. So we did some checking. Christy, Brad Griffin, Nicole Laughlin, our HR person, and myself, we have gone through some just researching. What we found is our regular route price, as far as salary goes, our regular route salary has been very, very good. It's very competitive within the state. Our special education routes pay as well per hour is very good. And then our VOTEC or Flint Hills Tech College route has been, like I say, one of the things that we need to look to increase as well as our activity rate. Comparing ourselves to other districts, it's woefully low. So with that being said, we're looking to make some adjustments. So our Tech College rate goes from, again, $14.40 an hour to $16 an hour. That would be a proposal. And the activity rate goes from $14.40 to $16 an hour. Now, we also have a chart in there that shows about non-air brake certification versus air brake certification. So like, for example, our activity bus has air brakes. There's a certification piece that you have to have. It's not impossible to do, and it's something Brad Griffin can work with our drivers to have air brake certification. And we anticipate in talking with the different people in the industry, Brad and myself have talked that there's probably going to be more buses in the future that will have air brakes, just because it's a trend, and especially with activity type buses, since they're configured a little differently, those brakes are a little bit safer than the hydraulic brakes. So having said that, Brad can work with our drivers to get air brakes certified. It's a test type scenario and a practice driving piece. But he can do that, and with that being said, since it's an additional piece, we would want to pay for the cost of air brake certification, but also increase the pay for our drivers. And you can kind of see that it's built in there, like for years 1 to 2, years 3 to 5, years 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, 15 to 17, and 18 and above, what your pay would be. So it's kind of an incentive piece. Most all of our bus drivers right now, I don't know if we've got anybody that's even in that 6 to 8 year column now since Peggy has retired. All of our bus drivers are in the 1 to 2 and 3 to 5 year range. So it might be an incentive for them to stick with us. And again, this is just for our Tech College route as well as our activity route as well. Any questions on this?
Throughout the state, is the sped always that much higher than the regular?
Yes. Yes. And I would say we are maybe on the upper end of that, but the special education routes, there's some different things. So for example, it could be first aid or CPR training. There could be like some additional training that does occur for, again, students maybe with de-escalation type scenarios. So there's some additional, with special education routes that you have some additional responsibilities. So.
Comes out of a different fund, is it Myers? No, it comes out of ours.
Well, it comes out of the special ed fund.
Huh?
It comes out of the district special ed fund,
Okay.
not the co-op
Not
fund.
co-op, sorry.
Because we are responsible for the transportation of our students.
And that sees the 80% reimbursement
Yeah.
on transportation.
Good question. Other questions on this? We're hoping for longevity drivers like Peggy and others that we can hopefully have in the future.
So how are we doing now on bus drivers?
We're okay, but we could probably use again 1 or 2 others that could maybe be on a sub list.
Okay.
Right now, I think we're okay with our routes to start the year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 1 short, but I
With Becky's
I have to
retirement.
ask. Yeah, I would have to ask Brad. Now, she was driving our Flint Hills Technical College route as well as activity routes. So we definitely are gonna need to find a new tech college route driver and then some for activities.
Now, did I understand Bart was going to drive?
Yes, and I just talked with him a few days ago and I know he's interested in driving, so
I just, you know, it sounded like he was going.
it's very possible. So, good comments or questions. Anybody else?
No, I think kind of the line here that, drives it home is that these rates haven't changed since you said you're starting your 7th year. And so the low-tech driving activity route, that's, I guess the activity bus with their rec cert, but that's kind of new. No, that's changed for at least 6 years, 7 years.
Right.
So if you've got people that are 1, 2, 3, 4 years of service, it would be nice to show them that it's not a stagnant kind of thing. You're not just, you're appreciated in what you're doing, because that is a big deal for us to get our kids safely wherever they need to go.
It is.
Most approved hourly rates for activity bus drivers for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
Motion to approve the hourly rates for bus drivers, we can vote on our computers. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to the position of Governmental Relations Network appointee. I think that was wrong last year, wasn't it? Was
No,
that
James.
again?
It was
James.
James.
Oh, what did you say?
What?
You wanna do it again?
He's got a lot of time.
I've got time.
He's got a lot of time.
Life is good right now.
I'll move to approve James Higgins to serve as Governmental Relations Network representative for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second?
I did get KSB stuff. Oh.
Less than 100 bucks.
Yes.
Then we vote on our computers. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to a maintenance truck bid.
So this is something that we kind of had in our capital outlay plan at some point in time. Just feel like there's kind of a rush or an urgency to do something with this because again, we're looking at a 25-year-old truck that we're replacing. If Margarito all of a sudden doesn't have his truck tomorrow, there's a lot of problems. Obviously, he's converting into a makeshift vehicle of some sort. It could be really a challenge. So anyway, with that being said, and the status of situation with vehicles right now with, yes, just absolute uncertainty. I felt like we needed to push forward with this as soon as possible. So we did receive one bid from Cromani, and that will, again, we'll replace that 1997 Ford truck. It will be a trade-in, and in the amount of $77,443. That will be the truck, but also the shop box type work. You know, it has the work boxes, if you will, the locking work boxes, and the rails for the ladder, the ladders that he puts on there, as well as he can carry pipe and things like that. So it has all the truck pieces that he needs. It'll be very similar to his truck with the shop boxes and stuff.
And we traded it in,
We'll trade in this 1997, thank you, the 1997 Ford truck when it gets here.
okay.
Does it-
Or do we have to trade it or we just sell it?
We could sell it on sealed bids, yes, we could do that, or either way would be fine.
They're getting a lot of money for them now.
What are you looking to order?
I'm sorry, what now?
What are you looking to get from Cromani Chevrolet?
It'll be a Chevy Silverado. 2022 Chevy Silverado.
I just didn't see anything on that.
Oh,
What are you ordering?
I apologize. We put the bids out for information on the website as well as in the newspaper, but we probably did put the bid.
Having a 3/4 ton.
Yeah.
Right.
So is he gonna replace it with 3/4 ton?
Yes.
Then it's
Chevy Silverado 350, it's a single wheel truck,
It's a one-ton.
so it would be actually
350 is a
one
one-ton,
ton, yeah. And then it will have the nap high bed will be installed, which
So
is the work
You
box.
say 350 or 3,500?
3,500, I'm sorry, 3,500.
Diesel or gas?
Gas, 6.6 liter gas engine.
Is he,
And he was,
these are all questions that I ask, is he towing with it? Is he hauling, thousands of pounds that he needs the one ton?
it is, not necessarily, no, he wouldn't necessarily, now, he could be like pulling trailers at times, but not a lot.
Not really long distance, so.
No, not real long distance, no. It is, I wanna double check and make sure, I wanna make sure it is a 3/4 ton versus a 1 ton.
I mean, I drive a one ton every day, but I haul a very heavy trailer with it. That's why I needed the
Fuel smalls, yeah, so.
that's just,
Yeah, I don't know what he's got that bed filled with. He's got-
He does have a lot of things in there at times, just things he does haul, but, and like I say, he pulls trailers at different times, but not a lot, not a lot.
Does this one have snowplow trap on it?
No,
It's
it
not.
won't, because we'll use that with our other truck, and that's,
Oh, yeah,
all we
sure.
need is one truck with that.
I don't know, was that four?
It's a 4-wheel drive, yes, it is a 4-wheel drive. And it's a regular cab, it's not an extended cab or a four-door.
I didn't realize you could still get a regular.
Yeah, let's say, that's rare.
What?
Look, they give you a lead time on that thing, but
Yeah, there is a possibility that we might have it before the end of the year, which is amazing right now. It is amazing.
We just ordered for a while, more in November.
I guess my only question is if you think that what he's asking for is appropriate for his position, then that's fine.
He was involved in the specs of the truck.
Yeah.
I think selling it though,
Right.
selling the 97, getting bids on it instead of trading it, we
Yeah, I
might
think
get
we
more.
should consider that everybody's getting lots of money for those, things, all these used stuff, so.
But I mean, cause that's a lot for a truck.
And I know, the work box piece is a big chunk of that, 23,000 plus on the work box.
yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
30,658 on the work box.
We'll get some pretty good money on
So the truck itself
Pretty good for the
was,
box.
Yeah.
yeah, and we can sell it privately.
Yeah, and someone else is pricing these, and they're seeing a 97 one that still runs and saying,
You should get one. So on Purple Wave,
I can order a cab chassis.
The truck is 46,775, the upgrade for the truck box 3658 for 77,443.
So are you ordering chassis and frame only from Chevy then?
No, that'll come with the trailer, or actually, it'll come with the back bed, and then they will work to, we'll probably get I'm gonna say a kick, or I'm gonna say rebate or a kickback to sell that bed. They'll sell the bed, the truck bed separate. But to order the truck, you order the truck with the truck bed, and then the bed, and then they replace it with the nap Heidi.
Yeah. There's a couple years ago, I spec'd out trucks for us, and you could order a cab chassis by itself without the bed. Then you don't have to worry about selling the bed off. But it sounds like you got
I
everything
think
worked
that's
out
what we're doing, but they just included the bed in the whole deal.
in the order, and they're gonna work out taking it off. Why not?
Yes,
Well, they probably ordered without the bed, and then put an half bed.
yes.
My guess.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
so this number, the 77443 is just the truck,
Yeah, just check.
and then we can do what we want with the 97.4 that we have.
Correct, that's what
There's
the
no
truck,
difference balance in there net. If we did it.
yeah,
Well,
no, that's
saying
correct.
you got a lot of years out of the last one.
Right, yeah.
If we get 25 years out of this next one, we'll call ourselves lucky too.
Alright.
And then there are a few things that are, I mean, it's nothing major, nothing right now, but it has an oil leak that we've been on and off with, and we're trying to fix it, and it's one thing, then it's the next thing, and so
It's gonna be school colors.
It's a great
White.
vehicle.
you
I
guys.
just ask all those questions on what color is it?
Ooh, we
And
got
it'll
one.
have red and gray on it.
And a wildcat on it.
Do I have to get a logo?
We'll get a, yeah, one of those vinyl.
Yeah.
Oh, Marguerite will have a little fun.
Somebody will cricket something and stick it on there.
Yep.
I think we have that module with BMS now.
Yeah.
Just cut
Yeah,
things up.
it's not gonna be that big.
No.
It's not gonna be that big.
So it sounds like we'd like to not trade in.
Correct. We'll try to sell that separately.
Yeah, so that's, I guess that's not even.
It's not
so
on
that's
that,
not-
No.
Okay, so I'll move to approve the maintenance truck bid from Chrome Audio in the amount of $77,443.
Second.
And we can all vote on our computers. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to board policies. And then it talks about what our meeting schedule is, moving throughout the year, different linkage times. And I think this is pretty much same year over year, right?
Correct.
Anybody have any questions or comments about it? You know, our results monitoring stuff, our linkage. Nothing really for, motion,
No.
just to kind of review. Any questions?
And I sent you a Friday note, some board policy updates, we'll do those in August. We weren't exactly sure how long this meeting would go, but we, and it's been quite busy for us here, so we'll do those in August, the update on the New Year policies, so.
Okay, we'll move on to closing items, debriefing. Good conversation about the truck and the tech stuff, I like that, always appreciate hearing about all those things.
Nothing better if we get dessert. So, I said I like it better if we get dessert.
And thanks to EMP Shield for the
Yes, and-
donation to Bridges.
and Sassy Owls.
Sassy Owls,
That's right, yeah.
for sure.
Yes,
Next month, we'll welcome a couple of bright new participants.
yes, we will. Jody and Taylor will be with us, and I had my first work day with them here in July at the time that you guys approved with me, and we had a really productive day today, and it was good.
They got moved in their houses? or-
They are all moved in, they're raring to go, and I kind of almost turned over the keys to, I am happy not to be high school interim administration any longer. That was a busy stretch of time.
I had-
Feeling over. As I said, now, after this meeting, I'm gonna send out an email to the high school staff saying, here's your email for Jody and Taylor. Talk to them. Anyway, no, they're excited, they really are excited to get going, and they're, I'd say, raring to go.
Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting.
And there is dessert, missing Roberta made dessert, the Butterfinger cheesecake desserts. Lindsay, you are in charge of serving the dessert, please.